Stop, phone. So it's like this strange storm. It's like around me, like circled, like, and like the lightning. Although I wish I could show you the other side. I was just looking out the other window in front of me, and it's like so fast. Collisions are colliding in the atmosphere that it's like sustaining a light, almost like before then, before the constant flashing. There were so many collisions of currents that there it was like right that the lightning strike stroke like right after each other, where it was like a steady light for like a minute, where the light wasn't a flash, where it was just constant lightning, and the light didn't go away because of all the constant lightning. So it was really interesting to me. It was a really interesting storm. um I saw some other lightning on the other side of the house. Last time looking towards my backyard, because this is where it's extremely conductive current, extremely wild. But okay, okay. Um, it's just really interesting, and you can really hear the detail of the thunder, like 'cause sometimes you can hear the lightning diving down and spattling out into like branches. It was still in the clouds. It didn't dive down out of the clouds. It's just the clouds take up a large quantity of space, and the container is it stayed inside the gas container, and whenever it branched out and spouted out, or the current, whoa, the thunder sounded extremely unique. Like whenever the dive down through the clouds and the branching of the cloud spattle, you can tell that it went pretty far. Not only from the dive down, but it went pretty far across the land from the spattle. Um, Usually, the spattle was pretty close, the starting of the lightning, because that was where you could hear the boom, and then the thunder carried on throughout the distance, as it traveled along the length of the land, linearly across the sky, and that was the rest of the rumble of the lightning from the start to its end point across the sky. So it was really interesting, and this storm is just really amazing to me, because it's like some of the lightning keeps bouncing back and forth over my house, like it is crazy, and the big bangs that start, from them jumping back and forth, was just like as the currents had hit something, in between, and then the longer, bangs that travel along the length of the land starts traveling. Obviously, as you can see from the recording, whenever the bang and the thunder happened, I was just a few seconds ago. And there was different phase, it's just a storm. Sorry, excuse me. So basically, what I was saying about the storm was that, okay, so the lightning, it started. Let's say we have our clouds here. Right, we have our clouds in this big giant cloud-like container, but really large across the land. Let's say we have our land here, and we have our houses, our roads, our stores and freeway systems. Yeah. Gotta make it look nice. Sorry, in a rush. Maybe some stores on the side. More freeway systems. I don't know. I didn't make a freeway, but yeah. Basically, okay, so the lightning, it seemed like at first it was really high before it spattled down, or a seawater, and it spattled like in different ways. Although it was other ones, like the different soundings of the thunder, where the thunder sound was like it started from here and it traveled, like it started here and it traveled and then it spattled into these different ways, you know, coming under and, you know. So whenever you hear the sound of that thunder, it's like loud where it started because it was such a massive energy reaction. This energy reaction that started here, and it was like a molecular like tracing of charged particles all around here that the energy expanse just carried on and into this dynamic pathway branching out into newer channelings along with the same stream of where the energy release started, which was in this sector right here. And like it's more like magnetic, like this magnetic like how do you say it? Well, I mean, we could talk about it later. Well, I just don't want to say too much, I guess. And it's still like, I just explore the storm. I still want to make tools so I can see through the clouds, so I can see the branching of the lightning. I think it would give me more of a clearer foundation on the spattling and or traveling and our branching ratios of how these channeling effects of energy release or energy reactions happen. Now it's like matter, since like this is a charged gas container, so the gas and or the cloud is charged. Okay, so in that case, a lot of things in space and or other sectors of the atmosphere, because above this sector, which is heavily oxygenated, which under here, oxygen, high pressure oxygen, and then we have our more heavy nitrogen, so we know the electronic configurations with a really reactive element of water, H2O. Sorry. Also, where would this channeling come from? How would the dynamics of attracting different things from space and or core-like interactions with magnetic oscillations and or core-like excitations, maybe like it got like its little magnitudes here, you know what I mean? Or maybe it's like magnitudes and like some sort of like black hole, not black hole, but like a what is it called? Kind of like a vacuum, you know what I mean? Although we can't really see those core phasons, sometimes we might catch that surging like interaction whenever it makes gravitational contact. Although this area here, as we see, which is positively charged, highly charged, although it can oscillate between negative, and positive, which is highly positive, maybe negative in between, as it's making a specific frequency, and probably positive along the spiral of the vortex. But everything else, extremely positive. Then we have our neutral ground, which is just neutral. Yeah, we have our positives oscillating with our negatives. It's just a neutral ground. So extremely neutral. Sometimes, depending on the charge of the storm can completely change the charge of the ground. Now, the charge of the clouds, completely positive, although it has its branches and gaps of negatives, while we have our positive trail and our alignments where these electronic configurations can make these ion channels. It's like a specific current ripple that does like nuclear effects, either to the atmosphere or either to the atmosphere of the planet, which in this sector where we have everything above and or everything below vacuum. So there's many different types of electronic configurations. It's like electronic configurations. Whoa, that was bright lightning right there. That could either attract things from space to come down, or either eject things out into different layers of the atmosphere, and or make molecular formations, and or different energy releases, or ion channels, or expansion, thing. It's really it's like the introductions to many different things that the nuclear phases, the atomic nuclear interactions can do, because instead of making gravitational contact, of course, gravitational contact, obviously it touches the ground, here. Sometimes currents probably still travel, thus nobody really gets to see those. I'm sorry. Oopsies. I mean, there's a lot I could talk about. I mean, still, the more nuclear reactions of of gravitational strength, and or nuclear strength around gravity. It's whenever it's long, you see these long lightning, linear to the ground. So it's traveling along over the ground. And the interesting introduction to nuclear phases that it can do. I guess it's many different. I could talk about it, but there's so many things that I'm not thinking about right now, because I'm so focused on the storm that it's kind of complex for me. So again, we see the storm. We have positive, maybe some negative here, positive, maybe some negative here, negative. So it's like a constant collisions of particles, since this container has billions and billions of little charged particles, and the atmosphere is constantly colliding them, with wind going up here and then wind blowing down here. It's just non-stop collisions of charges, positive and negative. Although it's how does these charges, when they collide and make these ripple effects, how do they affect space, and how do they affect the ground, right? I mean, it is a rock cycle, since we do go through this rock cycle. It's crazy.